Bye week is complete, and now we're on to the regular. As the season progresses, we got Lions football all the way till the end. But in this video, I want to talk about some overreactions for Overreaction Monday. Is it an overreaction for some of these topics we're going to discuss? Because I've seen a lot of articles, subscribers, commenters, a lot of people talking about things such as Aidan Hutchinson, is he a bust? He's a bust. And Jameson Williams, the bad pick. The Lions, they're going to lose out. Top 5 draft pick. And the Lions must go all defense in the offseason. So we're going to talk about that. Is it an overreaction? But before we get into the video, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We try to drop content on here on Lions Nation Night every single day. With your help, we can get to 5K. First, I want to talk about, and a lot of people were getting at this, whether it be on YouTube videos making from it or, ESPN's local media talking about Aidan Hutchinson is a bust. This is a massive overreaction, folks. We just got to slow down a little bit here. Aidan Hutchinson has not performed well in the last couple of times he's been on the field. When we're talking about since the Washington Commanders game. But does that make him a bust? Absolutely not, folks. We got to give these rookies some time. I give 3 years. These guys, you just want to see them improve from game to game to game. Be able to do multiple different ways of getting to the quarterback for Aidan Hutchinson, not just bull rush, but multiple different ways. That's the whole point of being a young player, is you got to learn from game to game. And if you look at the Lions' defensive line all around, players who were excelling last year in Charles Harris and Austin Bryant, they're not doing anything either. This whole defense has been a cluster, and I don't think it's just in one player in particular. I think scheme does hurt. I think the ability for other offenses to be able to scheme around players is hurt, and that's what's going on here. And Aidan Hutchinson, he has not lived up. But doesn't mean he's a bust. Doesn't mean it was the wrong decision. You look at Kayvon Thibodeau. Yeah, he got a turnover in this last game. You look at other players. A lot of players are struggling right now. That was defensively in the draft. Now, yes, you look at Sauce Gardner. He's been balling out for sure. There's always going to be players that ball out. But it doesn't mean just because you don't come on here and be Ndamukong Suh week 1, that means you're a bust. It took Jeffrey Okudah a couple years to get to where he's at now. Jeffrey Okudah is not the greatest thing to slice bread, but he's improved. You want to see improvement from these players. So give Aidan Hutchinson some time, folks. Give him some time. Watch him improve from game to game. Don't just say he's a bust and it's automatically over for this guy. Another, is this an overreaction to say that Jameson Williams was a bad selection? The Lions traded up from 32 with the Minnesota Vikings to select Jameson Williams, the wide receiver, who has yet been able to be on the field. And if you look at the defensive woes for the Detroit Lions, they could have went a different route, like a Devin Lloyd, someone that can help them immediately. So everyone's saying this was a bad selection. Is that an overreaction? I don't think it's really an overreaction or not an overreaction. I think that both sides are valid in this point. If you are a supporter of, going Jameson Williams, you can say, well, he's going to help this team out for the long haul. The Lions they weren't going to compete for the playoffs this year. He is a player to keep this offense going for the next 10 years. And 100% can agree with that assessment right there. Absolutely. To me, we weren't making the playoffs this year. I wanted to see them progress, get to 7-8 wins. And I didn't expect them to be 1-4, but I also didn't expect them to make the playoffs. And getting a Jameson Williams, a player that can help this team up for the long haul, understand that sentiment. And really, not going to argue with it. But I'm not going to argue with they should have went Devin Lloyd or a defensive player with that pick, because we do need defensive help. Devin Lloyd is doing really good. Other defenders out there right now, we're seeing pretty good with linebacker, if you want to go interior defensive tackle or wherever. I can understand that sentiment as well, saying, hey, look, our offense right now is ranked 3. We have the worst defense. We should have went defensive player right there. That should have been the pick. Can't argue with it. Both are legitimate answers, and both are legitimate when you're discussing this topic. I'm not going to be upset either way, so I don't think it's an overreaction at all. I don't think it's an underreaction. I think it's just depending your flavor there. Personally, I was like, we should probably win defense, but you're not going to see me argue about it. The injury concern for Jameson Williams, to me, it doesn't seem like he's an injury-prone player. It's just one of those things where he got injured, and it's not like he's been injured since he was in high school and in college, consistently injured. This is more of a freak thing, and the Lions wanted to take advantage of him falling and selecting him in the draft. Now, it's yet to be seen if this guy is going to be a player who's going to be on the field after injury and keep being on the field, but I understand both sides, not going to get upset either way. Here's another overreaction or underreaction. Where was it? The Lions are going to lose out. Is this an overreaction? I think it's a tad bit overreaction here. If you look at the Carolina Panthers, they're absolutely god-awful. I watched that game yesterday. They showed a lot on NFL Red Zone, and this team is an absolute dumpster fire. I think the Detroit Lions could steal a win there. If you look at the Chicago Bears, yes, they have the better record than the Detroit Lions, but they're not good either. The Lions got to face them twice. They'll have a chance to get a win there for sure. But, if you have the sentiment the Lions are going to win another game this year, am I really going to get upset about that? Not really, because they have played bad. They've played poor. I mean, when you're 1-4, and you got teams coming up in the Miami Dolphins, Dallas Cowboys, Green Bay Packers twice, Minnesota Vikings, who's doing a really good job. You look at the Buffalo Bills, the New York Giants, and Jets. So it's going to be difficult to get some wins, but I think they can steal another win or two and maybe be a 3-win to a 4-win team. I think that is what we're looking at. And yes, that sucks. That absolutely sucks. But I guess that is a win, when you look around it. Is that something that they can not be another 16-loss season? It's not 0-16 to be 1-16, but I think it's a little bit overreaction. I think they can get a win there. The Detroit Lions will be a top 5 draft pick. Is this an overreaction? No, actually, this is not an overreaction. This seems like more logical and probable, in all honesty. Again, just we talk about, if right now we're sitting at the number 3 pick in the draft, and we're tied up there with the Raiders, and we have the Panthers. So they're ahead of us. I think the Panthers will potentially be the first pick in the draft. We do face the Panthers this year, again, just like we previously talked about. That could determine the first pick. But I think the Raiders will probably get a couple more wins here. And if you look at the schedule, again, just like I said, it's really difficult. I think the Lions will have a top 5 draft pick. It's not an overreaction at all. They'll have options to go on defense or select a franchise quarterback in the 2023 NFL Draft. I think it's absolutely reasonable if you say a Lion's going to be top 5 draft pick. That's crazy. It's not crazy at all. It is probable. Absolutely probable. Now, there's other teams that suck that is behind us. Again, the Chicago Bears, they do suck. Do we sweep them? Probably not. Hopefully we can get a win there. I think we should get a win. I think we should get a Carolina, but that sets, if we were to just win at to win at Carolina and to beat the Chicago Bears one time, that's 3 wins. That's worse than last year. And last year, we were the 2nd pick in the draft. So it seems absolutely logical the Lions would be a top 5 draft pick. And it absolutely is a miserable season if that occurs. Is this an overreaction? The Detroit Lions should go all defense in the offseason. Simply go all defense in free agency, all defense in the draft. Everybody tells me we got to go all defense in the draft. That's an overreaction. And I'm going to tell you why that's an overreaction. I think predominantly defense, yes. But all defense, that's an overreaction. First off, you need to get a kicker. The Lions need to draft a kicker. I think that should be on the board maybe in the 6th round. And we're looking at the Lions right with 8 picks. Are you going to tell me you're going to draft all defense? Not everybody's going to be playing. It's going to be a wasted pick. Look at, Houston, who we drafted last year, he's on the practice squad. There's going to be players, because they're going to go in free agency, and they're going to probably pick up at least two starters defensively to add to what we have. So if you draft all defense, that means that a lot of these guys aren't going to be playing. Or they'll just be a role player or on special teams as a defender, let's say, if you win linebacker. So I think that's an overreaction. I think you can pick offensive players. Now, I think it's primarily needs to be defense. If we have 8 picks for the Lions, I'd like to at least see 5 of those probably be defenders and 4 or 5 be defenders and the rest be special teams or offense. I think if they decide to not re-up with Jamal Williams, that could be a running back position. I think if they wanted to get a quarterback, whether it be the future guy or a developmental guy, I think that's an option. For sure, if they wanted to go guard as well at some point. But primarily defense, yes. All defense, no. That's an overreaction, because I don't want to see players you draft that just sit there and do nothing. That would be disheartening, like we're seeing right now. We're seeing some of that right now. So I said the same thing last year. I want to go primarily defense, but you can't just go all defense because of the amount of players around a team. And if you go all defense, you're to go that route. Some of these players ain't even going to make the team. Will either go to the practice squad or another team picks it up. It's a wasted then draft pick. So I don't want to see this all defense idea. We do need help elsewhere, and that's important for sure. Again, in the upcoming videos, we got videos dropping every single day. Tomorrow, we're going to do Detroit Lions live. We're going to talk about the breakdown of Lions versus Cowboys. We're going to get into the game. We're going to do some mailbags. If you got questions, let me know in the comment section. We got Wide Receiver Wednesday dropping on Wednesday. Herman Moore breaking it all down. Video dropping on Thursday and Friday. With that said, adios.